So classification mostly did for the reducing the complexity and for better understanding. So when we classify things, we will understand them with better clarity. So take example of plants and animals. When we classify living things under the category of plant and animal, so we instantly get an idea about the that living organism or a plant. So when we see kingdom plant, then we will assume that it is not animal, it is a plant. It will do photosynthesis. Mostly green will be there. So when we say animal, we can directly see that it is an animal. It will be having digestive system and all thing, respiration system and everything. If we classify anything as a bacteria, then we immediately get idea that so it will be microscopic. It will be very small. Um, it will not be more complex organism. Simple form will be there. So this is how the classification helps to get better clarity. If we classify anything, we get better clarity on that particular thing. So in case of our concern is related to the rocks and mostly igneous rocks. So classification is mainly for the reducing the complexity and for better understanding. So, geologists try to classify rocks by multiple ways. There are numerous ways by which rocks are classified, and most of them will have some background. For example, they will be classified according to mode of occurrence, how they are occurring in nature. They will be classified on the basis of mineralogy, what kind of minerals present in the rock, on the basis of their origin, how they are originated, what kind of textures they have, what is their chemical composition. So these kind of criteria will be applied, and on the basis of that criteria, rocks will be classified. So mostly uh, that classification will have something to do with the genesis or origin of that rock. So origin of rock will be reflected in the classification, or process of formation also will be reflected in the classification. So a lot of geologists tried to classify rocks, but most acceptable classification is given by IUGS. IUGS is International Union of Geological Sciences. So their classification mostly worldwide will be followed. So everybody will follow this IUGS classification, and it is based on the mineralogy. Other classifications are also there. Other classification are also relevant. It is not like that they are not relevant, but this IUGS classification, which is based on the mineralogy, is mostly followed by geologists. So these are the some general classification terms. So we can classify rock on the basis of their occurrence and grain size. On the basis of occurrence means where they are occurring in the earth. If the rocks are occurring on the not occurring on the if rocks are 1 minute. सर लेक्चर आहे तुम्हाला नंतर करतो लेक्चर मध्ये मी. हम्म. So where rock is forming, on the basis of that, rock will be classified as plutonic, rock will be classified as hyperbasal, and rock will be classified as volcanic. So volcanic rocks will be formed at the earth surface. They will form on the surface of the earth. Whenever lava will erupt on the surface, lava will solidify, and that will create volcanic rock, which is formed at the surface. Then some rocks form at the deeper zones of the earth. So rocks which are forming on the surface, you can see in the image, they are the volcanic rocks. So some rocks will form at the great depth, like this batholith. So this batholith form at the great depth. So it will be tens of kilometers of deeper in the earth. So these are called as plutonic, and rocks forming in between are called as hyperbasal. So volcanic rock is formed on the surface of the earth. Plutonic rocks form at the great depth, and in between you will get hyperbasal rocks. So based on the occurrence, where rocks are occurring, and more than occurrence, where rocks are crystallized. In case of igneous rocks, rock कहाँ पे crystallize और solidify हो रहे हैं from the magma. अगर great depth पे हो रहा है, then it will be called as plutonic. If rocks are forming at the surface or crystallizing at the surface, then it will be volcanic, and in between depth is called as hypabasal. So based on their depth of formation, rocks will have different grain size. Okay, when rocks erupt at the surface, whenever rocks erupt at the surface, what will happen? There will be rapid cooling of the magma. So magma is very high temperature. Temperature will be more than 600, 700 degrees Celsius. So that much temperature will be there. And whenever magma erupts on the surface, surface temperature will be very, very low. So rapid cooling will be there, and that rapid cooling will give rise to finer grained rocks. So cooling अगर rapid होगा तो grain size क्या होगा? Fine होगा because of rapid cooling. Lot of grains will form suddenly, and no single grain can grow in larger size. Grain बड़ा नहीं होगा, grains क्या होंगे? छोटे छोटे ही रहेंगे, क्योंकि कूलिंग रैपिड हो रहा है। रैपिड कूलिंग होता है तो बहुत सारे क्रिस्टल्स बनते हैं, पर छोटे छोटे बनते हैं। In case of plutonic rock, what will happen? Magma will be crystallizing at the great depth. So plutonic rock great depth पे crystallize होते हैं, where magma will be surrounded by the rocks. So magma के सब साइड में क्या है? All sides are occupied by the rocks. Magma is present at the great depth. So at great depth, लॉस ऑफ हीट विल बी वेरी वेरी स्लो। सरफेस पे क्या है, रेट ऑफ लॉस ऑफ हीट बहुत ज़्यादा होता है, बहुत जल्दी ठंडा हो जाता है। पर अगर हमने उसको ग्रेट डेप्थ पे अगर क्रिस्टलाइज किया तो क्या होता है, रेट ऑफ लॉस ऑफ हीट, जो हीट लॉस होने का रेट है, दैट विल बी वेरी वेरी स्लो। इट विल टेक ईयर्स टू सॉलिडिफाई, बहुत साल लगते हैं सॉलिडिफाई होने में मैग्मा को। So very few crystals will form, but size of the crystals will be bigger. So whenever rocks crystallize at the great depth, size of the crystal will be larger. And whenever rocks are crystallizing at the shallow depth, number of crystals will be larger, um, but grain size will be smaller. और जो बीच में है वो मीडियम ग्रेन साइज दिखाएगा, कोर्स भी नहीं दिखाएगा, फाइन भी नहीं दिखाएगा। जो बीच वाला है वो मीडियम ग्रेन साइज रहेगा। हाइपाबेसल्स विल हैव मीडियम ग्रेन साइज, plutonic rocks will have coarser grain size, and volcanic rocks will have finer grain size. So what is the size range for these rocks? Coarser grain rocks will have diameter of more than 5 millimeters. So coarser grains will have diameter greater than 5 millimeter. 5 millimeter से ज्यादा का diameter होगा coarse grain rock का. Medium grains will have diameter ranging from 5 millimeter to 1 millimeter, and finer grains minerals will have diameter of less than 1 millimeter. So less than 1 millimeter diameter हो. एक मिनट, कोई तो ज्वाइन हो रहा।